the channel. I'm back to break down this 14-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. A lot of games to get through, big slate, lots of money to be won on this Friday slate, so excited to get into it. We're going to have plenty of great pitching options, plenty of great hitting options. And with that being said, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you feel like I provide you with any value, you feel like the statistics, you like the flow of my videos during the video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this one, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. If you're new to the channel, that's a fan favorite segment, the guy that I'm picking to go deep. And lastly, if you are getting very serious about MLB DFS, I do offer an MLB DFS premium package. It's linked below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use when building my own MLB DFS lineups. Things like my starting pitcher data sheet, hot hitter, StatCast data, splits leaderboard, team hitting data, bullpen data, power rankings, and cheat sheet. I think it's going to be very valuable. I think you're going to make your money back really quick. You get access to the Discord chat and direct access to me. Message me on Patreon, ask me any questions in the Discord, etc. So with that being said, let's go to start breaking down the slate today. As always, I'd like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy on the slate today is going to be Chris Sale. Keep in mind, these are 2021 stats, and we only have a 5-inning pitch sample size from the last performance with him when he did put up a 40% carry. A 40% carry against righties. He did not face a lefty in that game, so we don't have any sample size there. But we do know traditionally Chris Sale is a very good strikeout pitcher, very good pitcher overall. He's 10-7 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 9-7. As far as his pitch count and everything in this first game, he got up to 89 pitches. I'd expect that he's able to get to the same, if not more, in this one. 8 Ks against that Baltimore team, and now he gets to take on another tremendous matchup in the Texas Rangers, which is another team that does not scare us whatsoever. As far as an opponent, they have a good strikeout rate. He is a 344 favorite. That's a massive favorite, so expected to get the win pretty easily here, and definitely a guy that you could be looking to on this slate, as well as the next two guys, because we have ideal matchups across the board as far as these top K rate guys today. Robbie Ray taking on the Detroit Tigers. He comes in with a 30.3% K overall, a 15.1 swinging strike rate, and he gets to take on the Detroit Tigers, another dreadful team. He has a 29.6% K rate against righties and a 33.1% K rate against lefties. Very good stuff as far as K rate. And, I mean, you don't get a much better matchup than the Detroit Tigers, also because they just strike out a bunch, very similar to the matchup we just talked about with Chris Sale. Robbie Ray's been pitching for quite some time now. Definitely not going to be any limitations on his pitch count. He's been right up around 110 pitches oftentimes when he's really dialed in. Last time out, he had 8 Ks against the Seattle team. That was a great matchup for him, over 7 innings pitched, and that was only 90 pitches thrown for him in that game. Expect him to be able to have another really dominant performance here against the Detroit Tigers. And he's a 279 favorite, so another guy you have to have a lot of interest in. And the third guy you have to have a lot of interest in a tremendous matchup. Sonny Gray taking on the Miami Marlins, a 28.5% K overall. Good ground ball, fly ball stuff, a 24.8% K rate against righties and a 32.3% K rate against lefties. And he gets the third matchup of the cream of the crop, so to speak, where it's just a tremendous matchup. It's in Cincinnati, which is the worst pitching ballpark out of the three we've discussed so far, I would say. So that's a little bit of a downgrade for him. But the Marlins, with that being said, still only have a 3.5 implied run total. They are terrible up and down. They strike out a bunch. Sonny Gray is 8-3 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 8-4. So you get him at a friendly discount compared to these other guys that we talked about. And, you don't get a much better matchup. I'd expect a great performance out of him as well. If you need some salary relief, he's going to make a lot of sense. Blake Snell taking on Philly. They haven't really scared us as of late. They've actually been really struggling. He's been a little rough around the edges of the season, though. 25.5% K against righties, but the ground ball, fly ball stuff really hasn't been great. He has a really dominant K rate against lefties with a 39.4% K rate. So if there ever a case where you got against a very left-handed heavy lineup, we'd get really excited. With this being the case with the Philadelphia Phillies, I mean, they don't really have the most lefties. They have 2 in there right now. There are a lot of righties. They have been struggling. If you want to go to him, he is a high upside play. I'm not getting nearly as excited to target him as these other guys that we've talked about so far. Same rule is going to apply for Lucas Giolito taking on the Rays. I mean, they have a very good lineup up and down. While they do have their fair share of strikeouts, they've made some trades that really have beefed up their lineup and made them not quite as K-heavy as well. It's in the Trop, which is a great pitching environment. You should get Giolito at some very low ownership. He has a 28.2% K rate, a 15% swing strike rate, 27.6% K rate against righties, and a 28.9% K rate against lefties. Very good ground ball, fly ball stuff. So, there's definitely a case where he goes out there and he's able to rack up like 10 Ks against this Tampa Bay team. And you get him at low ownership. So if you want to go there, I don't blame you. But we have another guy with a tremendous matchup in McCullers Jr. taking on the Seattle Mariners, another team that we really greatly do prefer to target. He has a 27.7% K overall, good ground ball, fly ball stuff, a 30.3% K rate against righties, and a 24.3% K rate against lefties. So we do prefer to target him against very right-handed heavy lineups, if at all possible, just because he gets those few tick-ups in strikeout rate. And as far as the Mariners are concerned, they do have quite a few lefties in there, but he's a 198 favorite. Once again, these guys strike out a bunch. Once again, they do not scare us. An ideal matchup and another guy that would be adding to your pitcher pool. And then once we get down past him, it almost feels like unnecessary in some of these spots. We have Max Fried taking on the Baltimore Orioles. They're another team we really do like to target. He's a 24.4% K overall, a 23.2% K rate against righties, and a 27.9% K rate against lefties. Very good stuff across the board for him as far as ground ball, fly ball stuff. When looking at the Vegas totals today, the Orioles only have a 3.93 implied run total. So all the things kind of match up for Max Fried. To have a good game. And he's a 256 favorite, another heavy favorite, another heavy K opponent. Ballpark's not ideal for him in Baltimore, unfortunately. Unlike some of these other games we talked about, Baltimore is a tremendous hitting ballpark. Pulling up the diagram, there's a lot of home runs given up in Camden Yards. But Max Fried definitely going to be viable as far as his pitch count and everything is concerned. He's going to be in the same range as Sonny Gray over here on DK. He's been right around mid-80s to up to 105 pitches. 7 Ks, 1 earned run last time against Washington. He got pulled because it was a blowout. 2 times before. He had a 5K game, and then he had a 7 and a 9K game before, a 6K game. Guy's been really good as far as strikeouts concerned, keeping the ball on the ground. I think Max Fried and Sonny Gray are going to be your mid-range options that you're really looking to dial in on today. And then once we get past those pitchers, I just don't think it's even necessary to be targeting anyone else on the slate. We have tremendous options we just went over. So typically, I'll try to dive into the lower tiers, see if there's any sneaky upside plays for you guys. Maybe like a Sam Hentges taking on the Angels, because the Angels have been striking out a bunch. Could be a guy you're looking to. Is it necessary? I really don't know. Don't think so, but he does have a 20.7% K overall, a 20.7% K rate against righties, and a 20.8% K rate against lefties. Has given up a lot of hard contact to both sides when looking at the Angels' Vegas lines. They do have a 4.85 implied run total. A 4.85 implied run total is not exactly making you excited to target a guy. And then when you look at Hankins' pitch count, as far as how deep he's expected to go in this game, you can see he's topped out at like 40 pitches recently. So I don't think it's necessary to go anyone down there. And with that being said, let's go ahead and switch over to bats. I just, before I go, I'm like glancing at the bottom of this pool to see if there's anything I got for you guys. You could maybe target a Michael Walker taking on the Chicago White Sox, but he's been reverse splits either White Sox rake. I just don't think it's necessary. We have some really good options at the top. Let's go ahead and get over to bats. As always, let's go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra, skill and active ERA, worst to best. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in the season and how good they're expected to be in the future. And the worst guy on the slate today is going to be Jaime Barria taking on the Cleveland Indians. He comes in with a bad ground ball, fly ball rate, hard contact rate, a 391 slugging given up to righties, a 524 slugging given up to lefties. That is not going to get the job done. Very bad to both sides. And taking on a Cleveland squad tonight that unfortunately really doesn't have the best lineup. They have a 5.15 implied run total. They should be able to do plenty of damage here. But compared to some of the lineups we're going to go over, they just have a rough lineup once you get past like the 5 spot. Miles Straw, Avid Rosario, Jose Ramirez, Framil Reyes, Wilson Ramos, that middle of the order has a bunch of power. Then you get down to like Bradley Zimmer, Daniel Johnson, Owen Miller, and Andre Jimenez. And I think it's very important if you're stacking a team that they can turn the lineup over. And this lineup is just pretty ugly, to be frank. So you got to mention them. Probably not as much interest as some of these other bats, though. We have Charlie Barnes taking on the New York Yankees. He comes in with a terrible ground ball, fly ball rate. Hard contact rate is not good. A 508 slugging in with the righties, a 273 slugging with the lefties. And he has a rare downgrade for him because I'm going to be at this game in the Bronx. So, the Yankees are automatically going to just get a 20 times upgrade to their fantasy scores tonight because the at the game narrative. Nah, just kidding. But of course, Charlie Barnes not good, and specifically the righties. You can definitely target the right-handed power with Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Luke Voit, Gary Sanchez. Definitely going to get excited to target those guys. And then as far as Barnes' pitch count, how deep he's expected to go in this game, pulling up the diagram. As far as his pitch count, he's been right around like 70 pitches or so. And if the Yanks are able to get to him early, of course, he'll be out of this game. And the Minnesota Twins bullpen is terrible. It's 82 degrees, 4-mile winds blowing out to left center. I do think that this is a pretty good spot for these New York Yankees. He has been a lot better against lefties, keep in mind. Pretty good stuff. But ground ball, fly ball stuff's really not good, but only a 273 slugging with those lefties. So overall, he doesn't scare me. The Yankees are going to be viable stack up and down. Definitely like the right-handed power out of the gate. And then if they can get past the right-handed power, don't be afraid to play those lefties. I'm sorry, if they can get past Charlie Barnes, the lefties will come and play too with that bullpen coming in. So you got to like the Yankee stack for sure. Keep in mind me being at the game bonus. And yeah, I don't know, just a little joke there. But anyways, Mitch Keller taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Ground ball, fly ball stuff is not good for him. A 508 slugging given up to righties for him. A 524 slugging given up to lefties for him. And has been really bad across the board. Taking on St. Louis Cardinals team tonight. That really the only thing that's going to save him is the ballpark. It is a very friendly pitching ballpark in St. Louis. Not exactly the best for hitting. But with that being said, I mean, this is a great spot for these Cardinals if it wasn't for the ballpark. Tommy Edman, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Tyler O'Neill, Yadier Molina, Lars Nootbaar. Paul DeJong and Harrison Bader. I would literally play every single hitter in this lineup. They have talent all up and down. Harrison Bader as an 8-hitter is very good. I definitely like that stack outside of the ballpark. You know, things are looking really good for them. Sam Hentges taking on Los Angeles Angels. I had hinted at maybe playing him. He's really not in play. I think we established that. He's a 578 slugging given up to righties, a 391 slugging given up to lefties. Really bad across the board. And taking on an Angels squad tonight that unfortunately doesn't have the best lineup. Once again, like I said, I think lineups are going to be kind of important on the slate. They are very cheap over on FanDuel as far as DraftKings are concerned. You know, maybe that's the same case and you can get them at a discount here. But other than that, really not getting all too excited to play them, and they look a little bit more priced up over here. I mean, Upton's pretty low. And they do have some low-priced guys. And, you know, Hentges is not good, but as far as their talent up and down the lineup, it's not the greatest. But anyways, David Fletcher, Phil Gosselin, Justin Upton, Jose Iglesias, Joe Adell, Brandon Marsh, Kurt Suzuki, Jack Mayfield. If you want to stack these guys up, wouldn't call you crazy at all. Cleveland bullpen's pretty bad as well. Matt Moore taking on the San Diego Padres. He's really bad. Ground ball, fly ball stuff is not good. A 529 slugging him into righties, a 455 slugging into lefties. Especially that right-handed power for the San Diego Padres. It's got to be in play with Tatis, Machado, Tommy Pham, Will Myers, Austin Nola. And you can go lefty on lefty to round out your stacks with guys like Adam Frazier, Jake Cronenworth, and get them lower owned. Matt Moore really hasn't been good to both sides of the plate. So Padres stack will be playing. The Atlanta Braves, one of the hottest teams in the league. They get to take on Keegan Aiken, who does not scare us in this Baltimore Orioles pitching in Camden Yards in Baltimore. Ground ball, fly ball stuff is not good. He gives up a 531 slugging to righties, a 569 slugging to lefties. And I expect the Braves to keep their hot streak going here. As far as their bats, they have a 6.57 implied run total. And Aiken's bad. The Baltimore Orioles bullpen is bad. The ballpark is tremendous for hitting as far as Camden Yards is concerned. I already gone over this, but green across the board. It's going to be 79 degrees out there. And absolute great spot. They just required some bats that break lefties. Ozzie Albies rakes lefties. Jorge Soler rakes lefties. Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, Travis d'Arnaud rakes lefties. Adam Duvall rakes lefties. You got Heredia and Adrianza rounding out the order. And then Freddie Freeman's been absolutely killing it lately. He's been doing some lefty-on-lefty damage as well. If you've been paying attention to the pitchers he's been facing, don't forget to keep him in your stacks. So there's going to be a lot of people that may not play him. I think he'll get more ownership than typical because it's just a known fact that Baltimore's bullpen and everything is just so bad. But if you get any confirmation or feeling that Freddie Freeman's going to be lower owned because of the lefty-on-lefty, I have no issues with playing him whatsoever. The Atlanta Braves are in a great spot tonight. You play the Milwaukee Brewers power against the right-handed power against Patrick Corbin. He has a 544 slugging unit against those righties. Really not good as far as Milwaukee in their ballpark. Pretty friendly hitting environment overall. It does play more friendly to those left-handed hitters, unfortunately, but still. Willie Adames, Eduardo Escobar, Avisail Garcia, Lorenzo Cain, Luis Urias, Manny Pena are the ones you really want to be looking to. The lefties I'm not quite as interested in, to be honest. He's been a lot more effective against them. Tyler Gilbert taking on the Colorado Rockies. We've only seen one game out of him so far. It was a no-hitter, and the underlying metrics of that no-hitter do not look too great. A 48.1% hard contact rate, a 29.6% ground ball rate. Uh, you know, against righties, he gives a lot of hard contact. Lefties, he's a lot better. He did have a 33.3% carry against righties. Against lefties, he didn't really strike anyone out. And yeah, I mean, it's 12 inning pitch sample size for him. It's really not a lot. He's going to be in course field. I have a feeling he might be awoken a little bit here because the Rockies do have a 6.61 implied run total. It's just really difficult to pitch in Coors. The Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen is really not good, so the Coors bats, got to be viable. Connor Joe, Brandon Rogers, Trevor Story makes lefties, CJ Cron rakes lefties. You got Elias Diaz, Garrett Hampson, and then of course if they can get to Gilbert, they'll go to that Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen, which I had mentioned doesn't scare us either. So you can like them for sure. Tyler Alexander taking on the Toronto Blue Jays is going to be an issue because he's really bad in the ground ball, fly ball stuff and really bad against right-handed hitting. And the Toronto Blue Jays have a bunch of right-handed hitters, a 5.18 slugging up. Ground ball, fly ball, Woba, not good, not good, not good. And the Toronto Blue Jays are loaded. So, I mean, looking at their bats up and down their lineup, they have Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Teoscar Hernandez, Lourdes Gurriel, Randall Grichuk, Alejandro Kirk. They're all very good against lefties. Espinal and Kevin Smith, unfortunately, it's going a little bit downhill. They don't have Springer in there right now, which is a little bit of a hit to their lineup. But let's be honest, you're just getting spoiled at that point. They still have a very good lineup. Getting a little bit not so good once they get down past the the 5 to 7 spot now. But Grichuk's still a guy that absolutely ranks lefty, so definitely don't have issues with playing him, and definitely no issues with anyone 1 through 6. So you gotta like that stack today. As far as anyone else, looking at the numbers, you can see that Carlos Carrasco has really, Dane Dunning taking on the Boston Red Sox is a guy we have to mention we can target. The ground ball, fly ball stuff has been really good, though, while the Red Sox do have a pretty high implied run total here. I just think compared to other offenses, taking on guys that give up a lot of fly balls and such, it's not quite as interesting. I'm going to have to dig into some pitch data as far as what Dane Dunning throws and what these Red Sox bats really mash, and that's what it's going to come down to for me on, because the ground ball fly ball stuff doesn't look like it's the worst. But the Red Sox offense is very solid up and down. Taking on a right-handed hurler, which I'm excited because they've been taking on a lot of lefties lately, and while that makes a guy like maybe Hunter Renfroe get a little bit more exciting, it kind of was taken away from Schwarber, Devers, and Verdugo. Now they get that righty back in there. I think that can maybe by itself convince you into the Red Sox and the run line. And this lineup's absolutely solid all the way 1 through 9. If there was one guy I had to pick out that'd be my least favorite, it would be Christian Vasquez. He just really hasn't been performing all season long. But Bobby Dahlbeck in the 9 spot's been mashing. You gotta have interest in the Red Sox stack for sure. Carlos Carrasco's been really struggling, and it's only an 11 innings pitch sample size, but the hard contact's been really bad. An 828 slugging given up to righties, a 609 slugging given up to lefties. And he's taking on a Los Angeles Dodgers team tonight that, as we know, has one of the best lineups in the league. It's only 67 degrees, unfortunately, which is going to be a pretty significant downgrade when you're looking at the rest of the slate and hitting weather. But when you have guys like Trey Turner, Max Muncy, Justin Turner, Corey Seager, Will Smith, AJ Pollock, Chris Taylor, and Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger is the 8 hitter now. This lineup's very good. So you can definitely stack up the Dodgers. And that's when things really start to not get so interesting. The last guy, I really don't want to target anyone. I would say Giolito you could target because the Tampa Bay Rays just have a really good lineup. Cincinnati against Eliza Hernandez. He's been really bad against righties, so the righties on Cincinnati are going to be a little bit more interesting. But, that's only a 12 innings pitch sample size to keep in mind. And yeah, if I had to get really contrarian, I would say that stacking up against Giolito would make some sense. He has a 41 slugging gun up to righties. The Rays lineup is just really good. It's not like this is my top option. You got Arizona Diamondbacks taking on Austin Gomber as well in Colorado. They just really don't have the best bats, but it's in Colorado. Nick Ahmed, Ketel Marte, Asdrubal Cabrera, Carson Kelly rakes lefties. Drew Ellis at the bottom of the order has a bunch of power, top prospect. So you can go to them. I'm not getting as excited as you would think. Kikuchi taking on the Astros. You could go to the Astros power righties in Altuve, Correa, Alzmanes Diaz, Ulesky Gurriel, Chas McCormick, Jake Myers. Once again, not as good of a spot as these ones we've talked about. The Reds taking on the Marlins. Eliza Hernandez is a pretty good pitcher overall, but they don't have the best bullpen, so if you want to go there. But lastly, actually, the Chicago White Sox, too. The Chicago White Sox taking on Michael Wacha. I got to mention them. Let's see. Michael Wacha, as far as his pitch numbers are concerned, you can see against right-handed hitting, he's had a 553 slugging given up against lefties, a 41 slugging given up. He really just hasn't been good, and he's always been really bad against right-handed power, and I think that's where he could have some issues in the middle of this order with Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez. You got Luis Robert at the bottom of the order, Tim Anderson, and some of these switch hitters could have a good time as well with Cesar Hernandez, Neon Moncada, Brian Goodwin for the left-handed side of the plate, Jake Lamb. Michael Wacha is just really not good. And then, of course, the other side of the game in this game, the Rays taking on Giolito. Not an ideal matchup at all, but they just have a loaded lineup. Brandon Lau, Wander Franco, Nelson Cruz, Austin Meadows, G-Man Choi, Randy Arozarena, Mike Zunino. They've been flaming hot, and if there's ever time to get them low, this would be it, taking on a better pitcher. So if you want to play them, I do think they're a viable play today. And with all that being said, before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Giancarlo Stanton taking on Charlie Barnes. We had mentioned hard contact across the board against righties is not good. Bad ground ball, fly ball stuff, bad hard contact rate with a 50% hard contact rate. That's second worst on the slate behind Tyler Gilbert. Only a 12 inning pitch sample size for him, however. Worst on the slate with a 508 slugging and not scared of targeting him whatsoever. When you're breaking down the repertoire, he's very reliant on the sinker, and against lefties, Giancarlo Stanton mashes that pitch. A 429 ISO with a 522 WOBA, and he gets a huge boost with me being at the game tonight, so expect for him to go yard. Giancarlo Stanton is my home run call of the day. There you have it, guys. Giancarlo Stanton. Get him in your lineups. He's going deep tonight, and that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.